Bob Simone, you've worked as a mortgage banker and you're currently running a real estate brokerage. What is the best way for real estate agents and mortgage professionals to work together so the two of them get the biggest bang for their respective bucks?
The two industries run parallels. And so having founded and developed a mortgage company, a lot of the time I spent there was training our mortgage professionals to think like real estate agents. And likewise, when I was developing and training within my brokerage, which I currently still do, I train real estate agents to understand that the mortgage folks are their best friends. If you think about it, we have a very simple dynamic between the two industries. One brings the money and the other brings the equity. And without the marriage between the two, there isn't any closing. So what ultimately we know the consumer wants is a happy marriage. So it's up to the real estate professional and the lending professional to create that relationship before they actually are out developing the solution for the consumer. So we have a business model that we've trained both industry professionals on that brings them together. It's part of our multi-channel business development program within Better Living Real Estate. And we think it's a really sensible solution, one that doesn't create competition, one that doesn't leave either professional feeling they're only as good as their last deal. And while you build these relationships, the side effect of building the great relationships between the two professions is the consumer understands it, they feel it, and they see it in action, which means a transaction goes smoother, it goes faster, and at the end, you get more referrals from a great closing.
You mentioned training the mortgage professional to think like a real estate agent. How do real estate agents think?
Well, look, real estate agents have a tough job just like mortgage folks, and we try to start by telling each of them that mutual respect is key and that each of them have a difficult job. In both industries, we find that the majority of compensation is commission-based. So while you may spend 100 hours or 10 hours or 200 hours on a project, you're not necessarily guaranteed a commission. You're not guaranteed an income. So understanding that people are investing with the hope of a positive result starts to create a respect for each other. Looking at both industries, they tend to work a lot of hours while their customers aren't working, which means nights and weekends. They're answering phone calls, they're assisting people with applications, they're showing property. And you know, the work cycle is very similar in the two industries and very different from the general public. So what we find is that when they start to understand each other, they start to understand that they're living a very similar lifestyle, that their income's dependent on the same type of solutions, we start to build bridges. And building bridges between professionals is a great way to build more understanding and a better working relationship.
I don't want to accentuate the negative, but from your perspective as a real estate agent, what can mortgage professionals do to make your life easier, and what have been some of the mistakes they've made that have actually complicated your business life?
So with real estate, we look at mortgage professionals as people that we need to rely on for real facts. So when we used to run our mortgage company, we would always use the term garbage in, garbage out. And what that meant is if you take a poor application or a sloppy application, if the pre-underwrite is sloppy, what ends up happening for the real estate agent and the consumer is that they're out in the marketplace with incorrect assumptions. We need to know really what they are pre-approved for. We need to know what they can qualify for. We need to know what restrictions they have on the mortgage. Are there restrictions in program? Are there restrictions in down payment? We try to train our real estate associates to understand the condition of a property, for example, for an FHA loan. We need to prepare a property to be able to pass an FHA home inspection. Well, you know, a lot of times the mortgage people understand that from their underwriting guidelines. What we would love to see are mortgage people taking the time to sit down and empower the real estate agent that they're working with with the information they need to make the mortgage professional's job as easy as the real estate professional wants to have it for their job. So creating that working relationship and understanding the limitations that have certainly come into play in the mortgage market will break the bad assumptions the real estate agent has, will cause positive information to flow from the mortgage professional to the real estate agent. And that ultimately will allow the real estate transaction to be a lot smoother. And, again, it's all about having a happy customer in the end.
Bob Simone, how did you first get into the real estate world?
I am a second-generation real estate broker. I grew up in a family where my mother owned a real estate firm and my father owned an engineering firm. So I grew up in the two worlds of real estate and building design. I have a background in architecture, so I've always, ever since I've been, a kid, been around buildings or the sale of a building, the purchase of a building. And I think as I, grew into an adult, I just found myself continuing along the family business.
Did you first go into real estate brokerage, or were you involved in other aspects of the industry?
So the career has kind of taken a couple of different paths, and I think all of us, when we look back at our resumes, can find that. I ended up coming out of architecture school and running an architecture firm. I did real estate as a fun side job, and what I ended up finding very early in the career is that real estate can be lucrative, and it can be more than just a fun side job. It can be your primary career. So I found myself doing more real estate, a little bit less architecture, and transition started happening in my own life with the development of the internet and technology back in the early 90s. We started to leverage technology early on by getting involved in the internet, developing websites, web portals. These were, being developed back before there was a Google, back before there was a Realtor.com and a Zillow. So we were kind of early adopters of technology, and we had fun. We were experimenting with it, and my career has taken me everywhere from running an architecture firm to creating a real estate brokerage to developing software and internet technology marketing. And at this point in my career, I find that I'm taking all the things that I had done in my resume, and we're really leveraging that right now to create more of a forward-thinking model in our own regional market.
Well, you also ran a mortgage banking company.
That's true. I had the good fortune to create a company called LoanSnap.com. We used to call it a click and mortar company. We had both physical offices like you would normally have thought of in the banking world, and we also had a strong online presence that we were building. And the interesting part of that company was that we were building bridges there between the mortgage and the real estate community. We were utilizing some of the technology that we were developing and some of the marketing we were developing and teaming up with real estate companies locally and real estate agents locally to educate them on what we were doing and also give them access to opportunities within our business development. That was, again, before the likes of Zillow and Trulia and some of the other companies out there. So we had a lot of fun with that, and we ran that for about a decade. And we were successful in building the mission that we had set out to do.
Well, you've started, 3 or 4 different companies. I think it'd be fair to say you're a serial entrepreneur.
I've been accused of that, yes.
What is it about starting and running your own business versus working for somebody else?
The modern economy is not one that's stagnant, and we can see that especially now where we've got the younger generation coming into the marketplace. If you were to ask them whether they plan to start at a company and retire there with the gold watch for 50 years, a lot of them wouldn't have any idea of what you were talking about. So the business development that I've always pursued is one where we look at the current marketplace and we look at kind of where the future build is. So we've again looked at the successes we've had, and in some instances, like with the current real estate brokerage, Better Living Real Estate is really a repurposing of a former brand that we had run for over a decade. So I think the biggest thing for people in our industry is to not be afraid of change and to, in fact, look at change as something that can move them and their client mission forward. And that's what we did when we examined our own business model, and we did a 9-month case study on our own model. We looked at where the real estate market was going to be post-recession, and we've introduced things such as mobile platforms, what we used to call as virtual office technologies. Those are embedded into our business system. And that was part of the repurposing, is to take a fresh look to see where real estate might be in 5 years and 10 years, and to start ourselves down that path, so that by the time we are in the business for 5, 10 years under this brand, we're really able to look back and say, the course we charted was one that not only helped our associates, but really, again, was built to help our clients.
Finally, I guess, what do you expect for your career for the coming years? Where do you see yourself going and your company going?
This company is the most exciting company I've been able to develop, together with a team of excellent, experienced managers and highly motivated associates. I've been involved in developing companies that have had anywhere from 20 to several hundred people working for them. This company has the most dynamic and most powerful growth model that I've ever been able to bring into a marketplace. So our company is all about being customer focused and utilizing social media, social marketing, old-fashioned business networking, shaking hands, building local relationships, so that we're able to put together a complete solution for our clients, utilizing all of the things that are readily available and really inexpensive for our associates to get involved in. So the cost to run our business on a per associate level is so low that the bar to entry is really not there as it would have been, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, when it would have cost thousands of dollars for people to get involved in real estate. So we're excited about the opportunity. We see that real estate is a growing business for certainly in the next 10 years post-recession. We think we're going to have a great economy for people to be involved in real estate as a career.
Bob Simone, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Housing Show airs every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time and can be viewed on MortgageNewsNetwork.com.
Hello, this is David Koster for the Mortgage News Network. Today, nearly 90 million people will go online and watch a video. This explains why our weekly online shows have been such a hit. Custom-produced videos are simply the most powerful way of telling a business story. National Mortgage Professional Magazine gave rise to Mortgage News Network. Our editors and producers have been telling the stories of this industry for decades. To learn more about sponsorship opportunities that are available and to learn about the video services we provide, request a media kit. You can do so by sending an email to info@mortgagenewsnetwork.com or pick up the phone and call Beverly Bolnick at area code 516-409-5555, extension 4. And remember, while others cover the world, we cover yours.
This is Mortgage News Network.